This shot you're looking at now really does suck for lots of reasons, and in this video I'm going to give you 6 selfie stick tips to help improve your photos and videos. So let's get straight to it. The invisible selfie stick shots that you get with your Insta360 1R and other 360 cameras, when you first see them, they are really magical. When you're shooting in harsh sunlight, the magic can be ruined by the sun because you can see your selfie stick shadow in your shot. You're not always going to be able to avoid this, but there are things that you can do to either eliminate the shadows or at least improve them. The first solution is to move into a more shaded area or just to shoot when there is more cloud coverage, but I know that this isn't always possible or practical. Secondly, you can stand with your back to the sun and lower your selfie stick. Yes, this will be a slightly darker shot or even silhouetted in some scenarios, but there's no shadow, and standing in front of the sun can be quite dramatic. If you can't eliminate the shadow altogether, then at least be aware of where it's landing in your shot. If it's going across your face or your body and you're shooting video, then there's almost zero chance of eliminating it in the edit. And if it's a photo, you will be able to remove it, but it will be a lot harder if it's going across your face or body. And it only takes a second to readjust your shot and make things a lot easier for you if you are going to edit your shot, and also just make your shots look better. If you're walking, it may be as simple as swapping the selfie stick from one hand to the other to throw the shadow on the floor instead of across your face. And if it's a photo, you may want to do the same. You can either swap the selfie stick from one hand to the other, or you can just slightly rotate your body so the shadow falls onto the ground, so it makes it easier to remove in an app like Touch Retouch. With some 360 cameras that don't stitch as well, or if you're using a selfie stick or a monopod that's just too big and too thick for the camera, then you will see a black blob sometimes in your hand, which just looks unsightly. And this can be more of a problem if you're using the selfie stick at a shorter length, so the camera is closer to your hands. One way to avoid this is that you can extend the selfie stick slightly and then slide your hand up the selfie stick so you're holding a thinner part of the stick, and the thicker part of the stick is actually then hidden underneath your hand. And most of the time when you do this, the black blob in your hand will just disappear altogether. The selfie stick does disappear in our 360 shots most of the time, but sometimes because of the way we're holding the selfie stick, it may as well just still be there, because we hold it in such an unnatural way that we draw all of the attention to our hand. So try and position your hand into a more natural position. Try not to stand like you're holding an Olympic torch in your hand, because it just draws all of the attention to your hand and to the fact that you're holding something. You could put both hands down by your side or both hands in the middle, or when you're doing a bullet time, you can hold both hands up in the air to give yourself some symmetry, and so you're not drawing your attention to one hand over the other. Now, you're probably sick and tired of hearing this next mistake, but it still happens, and I still see it so much on social media, where you can see the selfie stick in shot because people haven't kept the camera straight directly above the selfie stick. So if you're using a 360 camera that doesn't have a fixed thread and it has a GoPro style mount that can angle the camera backwards and forwards, then it is essential that you keep that camera straight on your selfie stick, otherwise you will see your selfie stick in shot. Even though the stabilisation on most of the 360 cameras that we have today is amazing, your shots still won't look as good if you're throwing your selfie stick from side to side or moving up and down, or if you've got loads of random movements. There are some shots that you can get where big movements are necessary, but most of the time you can keep your selfie stick still and just let the action happen around you. You can then focus what the camera is looking at in the edit when you reframe your shot. You don't need to move your camera on the selfie stick closer to an object or further away from an object or spin it round, because remember, you're seeing the entire 360 image. And when you're walking, yes, we do have the stabilization, but your shots will be even smoother if we use our legs as shock absorbers. So we cushion our legs, we bend our knees slightly, and then that will take that slight bounce movement out of all of our walking shots. Because we're using a 360 camera, the camera will still see us if the shot is too high or it's too low, but it does affect how the shot looks, so experiment with the height of your camera to see what looks best. We all know that these 360 cameras aren't really magic, and the invisible selfie sticks aren't really invisible. but the less attention that we draw to the selfie stick, the better our shots will look. So when you're shooting your videos and photos, if you could take an extra 5 seconds just to think about the height of your camera, to think about your shadows, to think about how you're holding your selfie stick, and we can sustain that magic just a little bit longer. For more shooting tips with the 1R and with the GoPro Max, you can watch one of these two videos next. My name's Rich, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.